Hey guys, today I'm going to show you a very unique bike rack. This is the RIDE88 QR3 double kit behind me. I bought this a few months back and I'd been looking for a bike rack that would accomplish some very specific goals for me. And there are a lot of bike racks out there. There is no shortage of them, and each one has specific goals in mind and unique features. And so I think you're really gonna appreciate some of the unique features that this one here from RIDE88 has. Now, I had essentially 6 goals in mind when looking for a bike rack. The first one was I wanted it to work in the bed of my truck, okay? So that limits your bike rack options as opposed to a hitch mount or a roof rack mount, that sort of thing. Second goal was I did not want to have to remove the front tire. A lot of bike mounts that go in a truck bed require you to remove the front tire. Not a big deal, but I really just wanted to keep my front tires on. Third, I wanted a rack setup that would involve minimal effort to secure the bikes. I didn't want to be running a bunch of straps across the bike, something that was real quick and seamless. And then fourth goal was I wanted a rack that could accommodate a fat tire bike. Now, I don't have one mounted right now. I'll show you later in the video. But given the width of fat tire bikes, I wanted to make sure the rack could accommodate one of those wider tires. Then fifth, I wanted to be able to easily remove the bike mount, the rack, when I'm not using it. And then on that note, number 6, I wanted it to be compatible with a tonneau cover so that if I have the rack installed, I can still shut the tonneau cover. So those were my goals. Again, everyone has unique goals when they're looking for a bike rack, and that's what makes them all so very unique. But I finally found this one from RIDE88, and it is very unique. Really what makes it so special is the clamping action right here that so quickly secures the tire without having to use straps or remove a front tire, that sort of thing. It just makes it really quick to get it in and out. Now, I will say that the price point was one factor that deterred me from buying this sooner. It is a little bit expensive. For my setup right here with the dual mounts, it came in at about $600 before taxes. But despite the price point, I will say that it does have a very high quality feel with the build and the materials. It's carbon steel that's powder coated. And I mean, yeah, there's really nothing quite like this on the market, at least that I could find. Now, I've got it installed here on my 2024 GMC CR2500 HD. This is the standard bed, so it's 6 foot 10 inches long, essentially. And the way it works is there's a universal bar that runs side to side. And for GM trucks, this is pretty sweet. There already are 2 holes in the bed. They have little grommet covers over them. And so you just remove those 2 holes, and then basically it's a pole that expands and fills that void from left to right, and then you turn it, tighten it down to make it nice and snug side to side. And so that gives you something stable then to actually secure and mount the bike rack to. Here's a close-up of where the factory hole is located. It's probably about 4 to 5 inches off the bulkhead, the cab area of the truck. And really that offset worked out perfect for me because, as you can see, I have a tonneau cover here. This is the back revolver X4S. And so you can see when it's rolled up, it does protrude a little bit off the cab. And so really having that offset was very important because you can see I'm very close. I'm kind of almost really touching the rear tire right there. Now, they do have mounts for other trucks. If you don't want to use the cross member and you want something more permanent, you can actually bolt a bar to the forward section of your bed right there. Again, I chose not to do that because I don't have the room for it with this tonneau cover. Now, so far, I've just left that cross member installed in my truck. I mean, it only takes a couple minutes to remove and reinsert. But otherwise, when I'm not using the bikes, I just remove the actual mounts. And they are secured to the bar with 2 quick release bolts. And so that takes, a couple minutes basically to undo on either side, and then the entire mount just comes right off. And really, guys, what makes this mount so special from RIDE88 is the way that it clamps down on the wheel so effortlessly. It has essentially 3 points of contact. You've got one down there at the bottom, kind of like a foot, and that is adjustable. You can slide it up. And then you've got another one back here that's fixed to catch it, kind of like a bucket. And then you've got the clamp portion right there. And of course, that one's adjustable as well. There's this little knob right here, and you can adjust this distance, which basically adjusts the clamping force right here. And then down below you can see is the actual lever that releases the clamp right here. And so you just lift up on this guy, and then you can see that it loosens the clamp. So basically, once you get it installed, you just adjust this right here so that it clamps with the right amount of pressure. And so it took me a few times to get it adjusted just right. And guys, this is a very large bike right here. This has 29-inch tires. It's an extra large bike. And so I was very impressed that even with the large diameter, that it still fits very securely. Over here, I've got a more modest, typical mountain bike. This one is a larger size 21, but it just has standard 26-inch tires. And so you can see it fits just fine. I did have to adjust this foot up just a little bit, but you can see all the different points that you can go up. Even if you had a kid's bike, you could easily get it in here. And again, very nice and secure. I mean, this is not going anywhere. Now, RIDE88 also gives you this strap right here with each kit, and they intend for that to go at the base, right at this clip here as an anchor to run along the floor of your truck bed, and then it kind of hooks down there underneath your bed, and then you tighten it up with the clip right there. And that's to give some additional, support to the overall setup there. And then it also has a loop to tie down your front tire. You'll notice that I have not installed one on both of these. Guys, don't do what I'm doing here. The manufacturer wants you to use this, but in my experience, I wanted something that was quick and easy to set up. And so I have not used this yet. And in my experience, it is plenty stable the way I've got it mounted right here. Plus, my tailgate is shut, and so it's not like anything's gonna go anywhere. Guys, I'm wiggling the back tire here pretty firmly, and it's really not moving much. So, once you get this clamp adjusted right, it's gonna keep it very secure. Of course, the rear of the bike is gonna be the heaviest portion, especially on an e-bike. And so I'm really pleased with how secure everything is. But let me show you next how I remove the bikes, just how easy it is. I do like how you can change the location of the clamp so that it's on the outside of your bed right here. So I can just reach my hand right over the edge of the bed and grab it and release that clamp. And I'll give you a close-up of what that action looks like. Very smooth and fluid. But let me show you next how I remove the bikes, and definitely pay attention to just how gracefully I do it. It can be a little clumsy, when you're picking up the bikes, getting in and out of the truck. But basically, I just start by unclamping one bike at a time, and then literally I just lift it right out of the truck. There's nothing else that I have to undo. It just comes right out of the truck, and I'm done. And that is probably by far my favorite thing about this setup, is it's just so quick and easy. I don't have to put a front tire back on or do anything else. The bikes are ready to go. Then reinserting the bikes, it's the same thing in reverse, and I'll even show you with my tonneau cover closed. Like I said before, you can use this setup with a tonneau cover in the closed position. They provisioned for that, so I really like that a lot. But it's just as simple as lifting the clamp up on both of the racks, and then of course putting the bikes back into the mounts and securing the clamp on both of the tires. And that's it. So really straightforward, super easy. You can see that I swapped out for a very large and heavy fat tire e-bike right here. These are 4-inch across. I think it actually supports up to 4.5 inches, but these are 4-inch by 26. And so of course you saw I did have to adjust the lower stop right there on the floor, and then open up the clamp just a little bit. But I mean, it is as secure as can be, even though this is a heavier bike. I think this one weighs at least 70 pounds, maybe even 75 pounds. Really the hardest part is just lifting the bikes into the back of the truck, especially if you've got a larger or heavier e-bike. I mean, this one has 29-inch wheels. It's over 6 feet long just in the length. This one's lighter, about 50 pounds. But I'm just very pleased with how secure everything is, even while I'm driving. And I'll show you some footage of what that looks like. But I really like just how secure the bikes are, especially in transit. They're not going anywhere. And then it's just so simple and easy to get them removed when I get to my destination. And as a bonus, I can still get my tailgate shut, even with that larger bike there with the 29-inch tires. And guys, I'll just mention the reason keeping the tailgate shut was so important to me when looking for a bike rack is Yes, it is more secure with your bikes in there, but when I'm out camping and towing, I have to keep the tailgate shut. And so if I want to bring the bikes along when we're camping, then I have to have the tailgate shut. So I really like this setup. You can see I just barely have enough room, even with this larger 29-inch tire. And then I'll give you a close-up view with the tonneau cover. I mean, I have maybe an inch of clearance right there. So it is very tight and snug, but everything does work. And I also like that it opens up plenty of floor space in the bed right here where I can put all my bins and other camping gear. I still have all this room to make use of. I could probably fit a third mountain bike in the middle right here. I've seen pictures of 4 across, and maybe if they're smaller, mountain bikes or road bikes, kids bikes, that sort of thing. But really, I think 3 would be the most that I'd feel comfortable with in here. But yeah, guys, it's a really unique setup. Well, guys, let me close out the video by answering the question, would I buy it all over again? Because like I said earlier in the video, it wasn't cheap. It was about $600 before taxes for this 2-rack kit. And being candid, that was more than I had planned to spend going into this project of sorts. But to be fair, I had some very specific goals in mind with this setup. And the RIDE88 kit right here, it delivers on all those goals that I talked about and then some. It's very well made. And guys, really, I couldn't find anything else quite like this on the market. And so for those reasons, I would buy it all over again. Now guys, if you have any questions about the setup right here, definitely drop me a comment below and I'll be glad to answer them. I will also include a link to the manufacturer website if you wish to purchase this bike rack kit. By the way, guys, this video is not sponsored by the manufacturer. I bought this with my own hard-earned money. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, thanks for watching.